generally being online more. Not only did the revenues of many of these tech companies skyrocket, but so did their headcount.
I think Amazon is the quintessential example here. If you're promising 2-day shipping, you have to deliver 2-day shipping. Amazon, in response, just had to hire many, many more people.
Not only did Amazon grow its delivery operation, but it also grew from its web services.
Companies and businesses that might not have been online before now had an online presence. You have to host that data somewhere. And so Amazon saw their cloud computing service do very well during the pandemic.
Revenues stayed high through 2021, and many tech CEOs thought the growth would continue at the same rate they had seen for the last 2 years.
We're going to continue to invest aggressively into the growth opportunities that we see.
So they continued the hiring spree, and not just a lot of employees, but some expensive employees. Because this is also when the talent wars ramped up, where companies were vying for in-demand employees. Facebook launching the metaverse is a prime example.
From now on, we're going to be metaverse first, not Facebook first.
We saw about 100 or so people leave Microsoft for Meta, and some of these people who left the company said that they were being offered double their salary.
But by 2022, consumer habits had changed in a big way. People were no longer stuck inside. Netflix saw a drop in subscribers for the first time in over a decade. People began spending more of their money on services and less on goods. Revenues for many tech companies started to stall or even decline for the first time.
Some of these CEOs sort of overestimated where that new middle ground is.
Which is why they're explaining, while apologizing, that they grew too fast. Each tech company has also faced distinct problems. A major one, Apple's privacy change, which required apps to ask users if they wanted to be tracked. It affected a key component of many of these social media companies' digital ad-focused business models. Add in the threat from TikTok taking away viewership from other social media platforms.
When you have all these things happening at the same time, I think that's what really did it for these companies and put them in.
The bigger companies aren't outliers either. Layoffs have been happening across the industry throughout 2022, but have recently surged. But even though these are a lot of layoffs, the companies are not shrinking back to pre-pandemic levels. Meta's layoffs will bring the number of employees to about here.
Business as usual. Is it really as usual? No, not anymore. The top 20 companies which are listed on exchange, out of 20 companies, more than 50% or let's say 40% are IT giants at the moment. And this is the current situation which I'm talking about right now. Hello and welcome to another episode of Growth Development. And today we'll be discussing about business as usual. What is impacting the IT giants, the IT organizations, the IT companies which have lifted economical and social structure and given employment to millions of people. Earlier, there was a situation when the government had burden of employment. Then in 2000, when 21st century started, IT boom also started with dot-com boom, Internet 2.0, Amazon, so many e-commerce companies, they stepped into it and they given massive amount of employment to the countries like India, especially in APAC region and all over the world, I would say. The people migrated from India, from other countries of Asian continent to the US. These are all US based companies. When I talk about the market capitalization, it ranges from 1 trillion to somewhere around $2.5 trillion. These are all giants. Mang, it is called Apple, Microsoft, Google, Alphabet, Facebook. These are all big companies. But today, there's a worrisome, there's a fear, there's a lot more talk about these companies, especially, except Apple at the top. I will be giving you some ideas about Apple also. But few companies, are doing, massive layoff, which is unbelievable again and surprising. Why is it surprising? Because these are the companies which lifted the economy of other nations, their nations, and given the employment to the people, those who were struggling to get into the government sector after completing the graduation and post graduation. They given a dream. They given a, a lifestyle that nobody could have imagined in 2000. Between 2000 to 2010 until 2020, before the pandemic began, everything was going smoothly. But a drastic change happened in IT sector. Look what happened when pandemic struck in China, and from the China spread all over the world. From the epidemic, it became the pandemic. The world got locked inside the door. But something that did not stop, that was internet connectivity. Communication over the top, over the internet, massively increased after people got locked down. This is something which couldn't be, was not stopped, even though it was grew massively. And the companies, those who were already involved in this sort of businesses, providing services, IT services, compute infrastructure services, cloud services, they started expanding their businesses because the demand of online, people rapidly went online, people rapidly went for shopping online, people rapidly did everything online because they had no chance of going outside. So it all happened for 2 years. But the prediction was by the companies like who invested a lot of money into the metaverse. I'm talking about Facebook, enough $10 billion invested into metaverse, a kind of virtual world, a virtual land that did not work as expected. But that is the surprising thing. Where did the prediction go wrong? Why everybody, especially the CEO or the owner of the organizations, companies, the director board, all that stuff, CEO, MDs, why did they think that the situation of pandemic going to remain same? Or why did they think that even if it will be changed, the restriction of lockdown will be lifted out, at least not 100%, but still the 70% people would still go online and do shopping. And when I talk about online shopping, surfing net, doing social media stuff, TikTok and all that stuff, this is a platform which was uh, you know an amazing opportunity for the companies, those who throw them through ads and get the revenue. How they get the revenue? They through the ads by every click of yours, which is getting recorded. Earlier, it was getting recorded for the people, those who do not have Apple, is still getting recorded. But Apple suddenly launched a new app transparency feature recently, and which gave a drawback, setback to all these organization companies who were running their businesses by throwing ads. That was a setback. Macroeconomic turndown due to pandemic. All of a sudden, market correction happened. And the third thing that people are expecting, that this Ukraine-Russia war has also put in lots of market correction pressure on all these IT giants to resize their employment, to resize, to tightening their belt in terms of expanding their horizon and limiting their investment and focusing on their core part instead of expanding their business, whether it's metaverse, whether it's cryptocurrency and all that stuff. So three things, which are coming into the picture, which are massively impacting the employment, massively impacting the economy, massively impacting the structure, the social structure, the lifestyle of every common person who was associated with the IT sector. The number one, the pandemic, oh sorry, the Apple's transparency app, which is a kind of privilege given to the users that they will no longer be forced to get tracked by any application they will download on the app. That this earlier developers had this opportunity to use a host of tools and make customized opportunity for the online marketing stuff to throw lots of ad, but that has been stopped. YouTube earn money through online ads, Facebook earns money, all these, even if you go on Instagram, you will see lots of ad, even Google through ads. So all this will be stopped by at least have an opportunity to stop seeing these annoying ads on their Apple phones. But how many people are using Apple? If you check the data, data says almost 50 to 40% professionals, 60% professionals, using Apple phone, which is a huge stake or a huge amount. So 40 to 50% people, that means 40 to 50% people lost in business, which is impacting not anyhow, to to these companies. So they may continue what they're doing as a core services, but they may not be able to expand what they have already, started doing after pandemic at the door. So that was one thing, that Apple transparency, some sort of change happened. The second is a macroeconomic turndown and this Ukraine Russia war, certain sanctions put on the on Russia. So many things are associated. I don't want to get into all this, but the thing that I want to focus on right now, that what present look like at the moment or it was earlier, in terms of MAN companies, top 5 companies are leading the world. The IT companies, they were not there into the exchange list of exchange. They were not there on the on geographically, even they did not exist 2 or 3 decades back. So sometime present even doesn't matter. What matters is the history. Historically, were they available? What made them to become a giant? Was there an opportunity? Now, if you look at what Mr. Warren Buffett has said, the world has seen so many recession and depression and market correction. The thing that we are going to observe, we are going to get spectacular about, it will be more drastic and more worrying situation than we had seen in the past. Why? Because too much dependency on the IT sector, and too much dependency on the service sector, too much dependency on the internet, too much dependency on smartphones, too much dependency and expansion of the businesses based on the IT might collapse sometime, and give a setback to other companies, setback, kind of economic setback, employment setback, or all sort of setback. So we need to be ready for an alternative. We need to have right prediction in place, because anything can go wrong at a point of time. Natural calamity, territorial dispute of countries, all sort of stuff. They can, stop the world at any one point of time. So what is important for the prosperity and tranquility for the world, and the employment remained the way it was earlier, is to bring the peace on the earth. The world, when we say globalization, we should, stop bordering, should stop limiting people on the border. Brexit happened. That was a bad situation of Europe when the Europe, United Kingdom got out of the Europe. It was a very bad situation economically. Investor left out the money from the bank, from especially from the UK. Till now UK is not able to get out of that trauma. The Brexit happened. The such thing shouldn't have happened. If I talk about Indian continent, India, China, Brazil, some point of time, the economist, the technocrat, the predictor, they all believed in brick, that Brazil, India, China, Russia, they will all become a giant in this sector. But their territorial dispute killing them. I think these territorial disputes, these internal conflicts, external conflicts should be sorted out to make the common man's life happy. Remember the situation. Think about this. If Russia-Ukraine war wouldn't have happened, if we would had controlled the pandemic on time, all these situations wouldn't have arrived. So what we need to do, we are looking for a solution. The solution is to bring the peace, prosperity among the nations, within the nation, within the corporate, and employer should also, when doing the resizing or expanding their businesses, they have to give the disclaimer. When they were hiring, when they were doing a massive hiring before, during pandemic, they should have done a contractual um, employment instead of permanent. They should have said that this is for the 2 years. And what Indian government is doing for military services is a 4 year services. So why can't a corporate say that it's a win-win situation for both sides? You should be ready for some sort of disclaimer. If something goes wrong, this is the situation. We'll give you this. A 2 years contract or 3 years contract could have sorted instead of massive layoff of of 11,000 or 12,000 everywhere. So prediction and commitment, these are very important things, along with national international prosperity. I hope my message is very loud and clear, what is needed to be done, what needs to be done, and what we all supposed to do internally, externally. Work as a team. When I say work as a team, I'm not talking about two or three people working in a corporate sector or IT sector. I'm talking about smaller society, talking about at state level, national level, and even at international level. Bring dissolve all the borders, do the businesses, stop nonsense of fighting and grabbing, troubling people. You know, only innocent people are suffer. Even an army man dies, he is not responsible for getting killed. Somebody else sitting at the top enjoying in a luxury room is responsible for his death. Someone has to think about it. Think is the right time when we walk upon it and get out of the situation. Thank you so much for watching me, and do like and subscribe to my YouTube channel if you like, and do comment if you think there's some sort of feedback is necessary. I always like short comments. So thank you so much and have a nice day. Bye.